wrong friends, movies, music, and that kind of stuff, like we said earlier, it has more of an influence over us than most of us realize. So many times we'll be tempted to do or think wrong as a direct result of these things that we're letting into our lives. So ask God and your parents to help you stay away from these things that you know are a stumbling block in your life.
What we don't destroy will soon destroy us, and that's the same thing for sin. And be open to the grace that God wants to give us in our lives to respond right when temptations do come, because they're going to come. It's not a question if they're going to come or not. They will come, and so we need to have our armor on and be ready to defend them.
From Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Wednesday, January 5th, and there's been lots of talk about the various Duggar girls and all their wranglings. We just finished up a video about Jana, and now we need to jump over to Jessa, who's over in her comments on YouTube being a little bit sarcastic with some of the comments, and discuss some things that are going on right now. So if you have not done this for me, do me a favor and give this video a thumbs up. I am getting so excited because I'm seeing the likes going up on my videos. It was amazing. I got 16,000 on a video the other day. Could you please do me a favor and just take 2 seconds? I love to see your engagement. It makes me feel so happy to know that so many of you guys enjoy these videos. Okay, so Jessa Duggar Seewald has taken an approach where she has not been spending a lot of time even focusing or discussing anything to do with Josh. In fact, she was the only of the sisters that was impacted by Josh's actions to actually not say anything publicly about him. Instead, her husband, Mr. Ben, is the only one that made a statement. He posted it on a story on his Instagram, and it was kind of a mix of what Jim, Bob, and Michelle said, basically just saying that they were, you know, glad to see justice prevail, but they didn't really say that Josh was guilty, and they were so heartbroken for the kids involved. But Jessa said nothing. Shortly after everything started happening, she starts going on her Facebook, and she's like posting these things about things that the kids say. So making these like, they're supposed to be like cute little quips of things that children say. And so she started posting like these in like blips. Like she would post like 3 in a row of what the kids said. And sometimes I was just like, did this even happen? Is this even a conversation that took place? I don't know if she's trying to be relatable. I don't know if she's just trying to be cute and share funny stories, but that's how it started. Then the news broke of what happened with Jana, and she came out swinging about Jana, and that was the only time she broke her cool in showing any sort of frustration or anger. She told people to go back to living their perfect lives, which is something that she likes to say when she gets upset. So obviously, I've been looking around trying to see if she has said anything about anything. And there was a video that she put out around Christmas time. Now, I told you guys that the Duggars have this thing with their social media where a lot of it is very coordinated. And Jim Bob, for years, had a social media manager who took care of all of the kids' social media. Some of them still have a social media manager that manages what they put out on social media. Others of them kind of post whatever their dad says. Others of them post freely. It really just depends, but they generally stay on a script in terms of like, they know not to upset their father. They know that what they post is going to be seen by their father, and if they want to stay in their father's good graces, they're going to, you know, obey their father. So even if he weren't to tell them what was to post, they would still know that dad saw it, and you don't want to make dad upset in the IBLP.
In the Old Testament, there are very clear laws given, the law of God. If anyone would strike or hit a father or mother, he's to be taken out and stoned. And also, a few verses later, it says, whoever would curse a father or mother, they're to be taken out and stoned. Same penalty, whether it's for hitting or cursing.
So she did this Christmas video, and in the Christmas video, which I didn't really talk about on this channel because I was like, it's really not relevant. There was a video that was in there, and they took the kids outside, and they went to this like light fest, and every one of the Duggars went to the light festival. Now, what happened at the light festival is that the kids were out in the cold. I think it was like 35, 37 degrees. Jessa and Ben were wearing hats and they were dressed appropriately. The kids had winter coats on, but they did not have hats or mittens. And so Henry started having kind of like a meltdown about how cold he was. And he was upset with how cold he was. And so one of the criticisms was Jessa, why aren't you putting your children in the correct attire? And the entire time this is happening, she just keeps on filming and she's like, Henry, use this cookie and warm your hands up here and whatever. So someone posted this on her comments and she actually responded to it. And so I want to show you this. We'll get to her really snarky thing here in a second, but this is just the teaser. Henry, mommy, my hands are cold. Jessa, put your hands in your pockets. Henry does no such thing. A few moments later. Mommy, when I eat this, my hands are cold. Jessa, put your hands in your pocket. Henry refuses. Jessa responds, haha, yes. He had sticky fingers and didn't want to get stickiness in his pockets. I told him we could wash the coat when we got home, but he couldn't handle the thought of sticky pockets. Bless him. Okay, so my only suggestion to Jessa there is that maybe bring some wipes or take him to the bathroom and wash his hands. I don't know. I mean, they were eating like churros and fried Oreos and like sticky foods. So either she forgot mittens, hats, and wipes, or she was busy filming. I don't know. My suggestion, bring wipes or take your child to wash his hands. I can totally relate with the not wanting to get sticky hands in there. Then there was a comment made about how Reddit was over-analyzing her YouTube video. So this is what she had to say, and this is where I think this is like kind of like, ugh. Reddit is psychoanalyzing your YouTube video. They really like to reach over there. And Jessa said, yes, sad life they must lead. Haters gonna hate, but I don't pay any attention to all that mess. Life goes on, and we're seeking to live it to the fullest. It's a really odd place to put life goes on because the comment was Reddit is psychoanalyzing your YouTube video. They really like to reach over there. She has no idea what they're saying because theoretically she hasn't gone over there because she said she's not paying any attention. So why then is she adding life goes on and we're seeking to live it to the fullest? Well, life goes on is, this part of the IBLP teachings where they are basically told that when something bad happens, instead of looking at the negative side of things, look at it as a positive in the terms of the blessings that you receive from what happens and then move forward. Don't wallow in the sadness, don't wallow in the anger, and just move on, put on a happy face in the face of criticism. Make sure that you're happy. Don't respond to it. Don't be angry. Just do it. Just life goes on.
Strongest bondages that we tend to have in our life is the bondage of wondering, what will people think of me? And that can be very disabling to what God wants to accomplish. But when a person goes through a trial of bitter water, there's a whole new freedom of concern of what people think. And thereafter it becomes, what does God think? Not what people think. The attitudes of people are so fickle. You're a hero one day.
It's almost why you see them smiling all the time, because they're supposed to have a joyful countenance all the time. So they're not allowed to be sad or upset. And Jessa's like, our lives are moving on. Now, I think when I read that, I was like, whoa, Jessa, you haven't responded to anything. You haven't said anything. And your response right now is life goes on. The only thing I could think about is the poor little kids that were literally in the videos that were on Josh's computer, specifically the DD videos that were made by Peter Scully that included horrific things that were happening to children. One of the children in that video is no longer alive because of Peter Scully. And so for some of the kids involved, life didn't go on. And so sometimes I'm like, she wasn't at the trial when all of this stuff was being revealed. She didn't stay for that kind of testimony. She was only there for like an hour and didn't stay for any of the heart of the trial. She can still live in a world where nothing happened, or it's, an idea of something happened, but she doesn't know the details because she didn't hear it. And I'm sure she wasn't getting it at home the truth. And then Ben also wasn't at trial, not a single day, not one time, nothing. So you've got two people that wanted to put their heads down in the sand and kind of play ignorant. And now she's like, well, we're just going to go on and play life goes on. Now, that's the other thing that I thought was interesting. Now, there was one other comment, and this was about someone leaving her a message about Jim Bob Duggar controlling the social media. And she said, we know Jim Bob got you out here distracting us, sis. But it's okay. We love you, Jessa. You're so pretty. And she said, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But thanks for softening your rudeness with a compliment. Okay. So Jessa wants you to believe that Jim Bob is not dictating what the kids do and say or how they think or feel like he's been doing his whole life. Now, he might not be saying you need to post this. They could have their social media manager telling them that they need to post this. But the message is always the same for the Duggars. They have a brand. Even if they're not on the show, Jim Bob very much looks at this family as a brand. They were in a machine of a show for 15 years where the show must go on, where they had to deny everything that was said about them. It was all lies. It was all fake. And they just had to keep moving forward regardless of the criticism. Jarek and Jill clearly stated in what they said publicly was that Jim Bob and the network dictated what they said. So if they wanted to post something on their social media, they had to get permission. If they didn't get it from Jim Bob, they had to get it from the network. So now with the show gone, maybe their social media guy is gone, but the Duggars are still a part of the IBLP. They're still very much, all about appearances and all about how things look. So Jessa has someone managing her social media, which just makes me feel like there's coordination here. Not to mention, anytime over the years there has been any criticism of Jim Bob, Jessa's been the first one to be like, I have the best dad, I have the best mom. Like when people were saying, why aren't Jill and Derek invited? Because remember, they were not invited to Christmas. And they said, the Dillards are always invited, they just decide not to come. Which is flat out not true. The Dillards have said they were not invited. And they're not allowed to go over to the big house. Then when Jill and Derek revealed that they weren't paid, Jessa said, that's not true, we get paid. So Jessa says, we get paid, the Dillards are always invited, my dad's not controlling my social media, Jana didn't do anything wrong. Do you see a pattern of deception? Now in the IBLP, they would say that it's not really a lie because you're protecting the integrity of God and the people out here are worldly. And so the world doesn't need to know the truth. You can make little white lies to the world because they don't understand and it doesn't matter. They will justify any reason to lie. And they're taught to lie. What they've been taught is a lie. So, when your foundation of your life is built on lies, I think it would be hard to tell the truth. Not to mention Michelle, in a video with the IBLP, has said that she struggles with telling the truth and has her whole life.
I don't want to do this. This is something that I feel like has been a stronghold from the time I was little. And Lord, I want to be right with you. I want to be right with those that you've called me to be in a right relationship with. And I remember that honesty and truthfulness was vital for freedom. And I can't say that enough
So that's the long of the short of it. Jessa says, we're moving on, life goes on, and Mr. Sticky Hands. My advice to Jessa, mittens, you can get them at Walmart. Hats, you can get them at Walmart. If you can properly dress yourself and your husband, you can properly dress your kids. And life does not go on for the kids that were involved in this. Try to find some compassion for those around you. And maybe take a moment, take some advice from that cute little lady on YouTube that told you that using your children for content and being exploited in that way is what your parents did to you, and maybe you should break the cycle. I didn't say it, the lady on YouTube did. And she's a survivor like you, and I think she had some really good points. So maybe you should check out her channel. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.